Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be showing you how to design a cloth flyer using Photoshop. So without further ado guys, let's get started and let's start designing.
Best graphics.
So first things first, what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to head into new file or Control N on my keyboard. Okay, so now here we have the new document interface, and what I want to do is that I'm going to be heading to my dimensions area, and because of this is going to be an Instagram or a social media post, I'm going to be using this with the original square format. So I won't be using the 1080 by 1350 Instagram portrait. I'll be using the square format for this design. So let me just change this to um, pixels, and then for my width I'll be going with 2000 by 2000. Okay, so I'll be increasing my resolution to 300. RGB color mode, and I'll leave the rest settings at the same, so we don't have any business with this. So I head over to create, and then we are greeted with our interface right here, and you can see our empty canvas. So here is where all the magic will be happening. So first of all, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be placing the image that I'll be using for this design. So let me just do that quickly. Okay, head over to file, place embedded, and we have this. Okay, let me head over to documents. Okay, and then we have this image right here. So now we have our image placed right here. We have our image placed right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase this. So all I'm going to do is just drag this out. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to add in is my overlay background. So this will not just be the only background I'll be having on this project. I'll be having an overlay background at this area. So let me add that quickly. Okay, place embedded, and okay. So now I'm going to place in the background I'll be using as my overlay. So let me just head over to this folder, and I'll be adding this image right here. Okay. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to head over to my blending mode, and I'm going to adjust this to screen. So as you can see, this creates a very beautiful mixture to this background. And that's one thing I love about Photoshop. Because of the blending mode, you can actually add some crazy effects to pictures. So that's one of the benefits of designing with Photoshop. So let me just grab my eraser tool, and I'm going to be fading some parts of this design. Okay. So let me just fade this a little bit. And then in order to ensure visibility of my text and reduce the wrong contrast, I'm going to blur this image a little bit so that I don't have any issues with my text. So let me just do that quickly. So let me just, okay, move this to the side first. Okay, so we have this, and then I'm going to blur this image a little bit. So filter, blur, and Gaussian blur. So I'm going to actually increase the radius to, okay, reduce to the level I want. Okay, I think this is not bad. I think this is not bad. So I think this is not bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag out this image a little bit. Okay, so okay, so we have this right here. So I'm going to use my eraser and then fade these extra parts off. Okay, just a little bit. Okay, just a little bit. Okay. So now that we have our background prepped, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be adding the text for this design, and I'm going to start with the name of the bar. So we have lasers bar, and grails. Okay, so let me just write razors, bar, and grails. Okay, so for the fonts, I'll be using Akira for this. Okay, Akira expanded super bold, which is a very, very beautiful font. So I'm going to be reducing the I'm going to be increasing the tracking to minus 25. Okay, so I think let me just cut this so that it's too much. Okay, let me just see what I can do. Okay, let me just use Blazers bar. That sounds right. So let me just okay, reduce this, and next thing I'm going to be typing is presents. Okay, so presents. We have presents. So for this, I'm going to be increasing the tracking. Okay, 2000. Then I'm going to actually reduce this. Okay, so Blazers bar presents. Okay, just okay, Control T, and I'm going to be inserting a grid right here so that I can be able to align my text properly. So we have Blazers bar presents, and I'm going to be adding the theme of this program. So Friday, okay, let me reduce the tracking on this. Minus 25. Okay, let me here minus 25 on this. So I'm just going to increase this a little bit. So we have a Friday rollout party. A Friday rollout party. Roll out. So for this, I'll be using blacklisted, which is a very beautiful font for things like this. So blacklisted. So and then I want to actually adjust my leading in this. So I have to move this towards here, and then I need to drag this. Okay, so okay, I need to drag this. So okay, so this is Friday rollout. So let me just adjust this. So I have Friday rollout. So I just need to adjust the leading once more. Okay, so I need to set my leading. So I think let me just set this to 95 and see how it looks. Okay, 97. Okay, not bad, not bad. So I'm sticking with 97. Okay, let me just zoom into this. So now we have Friday rollout party, but let me just adjust something right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be actually be placing a golden background on this test. So let me just do that quickly. So first of all, I'm going to select this both test Friday and rollout. I'm going to group it with Control G, and then what I want to do is I want to place my gold image right here. So place embedded, and I'll be placing this gold background we have here. And do want to remember, guys, that all the files I'll be using for this project can be gotten from the description. So I'll be leaving a link to Dropbox where you guys can head over and download all the files that I'll be using for this project. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just create a clipping mask to this group. Okay, so we have rollout, Friday rollout, party. I can see that this gives it a cool effect. So, okay, let me bring down this presence. Okay, okay, reduce this. Okay, bring this down. Okay, so we have blazers bar presence. So what I want to do is I want to select all these stuffs here. That's my team, and then with the golden background, what I want to do is I want to convert this to a smart object. Convert to a smart object. Okay, so we have this. Let me just name this my team, and then what I want to do is I want to duplicate this, then head over to my blending mode, and I'll set it to screen so that it will be brighter, and then I'm going to group this together. Um, okay, and then I'll still convert it to a smart object. So you'll be seeing why I'm doing that shortly. So let me just convert all of them to a smart object. And okay, let me just drag this out a little bit. Okay. Okay, so you have Blazers rollout party. So let me move this right here. Okay, so so we have this right here, and okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually be adding a little bit of shadow to this text to make it a little bit to make it clearer. You understand? To make it clearer. So let me head over to drop shadow, and then for my color, I'll pick a color right from here. Okay, red color. Let me go with purple. Okay, and then I'll okay, multiply is not bad, but let me see if I increase it like this. Okay, okay, which is not that bad. So I think this is okay for now, but I think I need to um just adjust these stuffs a little bit. That's okay. Okay, just a little bit. So let me just scale this out and see how it looks. So we have okay, we have this right here. Okay, okay, okay. And then we have this right here. Okay, so okay, okay, so we have Blazers Friday rollouts. Then I'll be adding party right there shortly. So let me just adjust this a little bit. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so okay, okay, so let me group this together. Okay, okay, so we have this Blazers bar rollouts, and then I'll be adding the last test to complement this. So Blazers bar Friday rollout party. So party. So the font I'll be using is none other than Autograph, one of my best fonts in the past. So that's what I'm going to be using for this. Then I'm going to be dragging it out. Okay. So okay, so it's going to be above this test. It's going to be above this test. Okay. So let me just take it up. Okay, so we have Friday rollout party, and as you can see, it's already looking spectacular. And then what I want to do, so now I'm going to be adding an effect to this test to actually make it look better. But um, I'll be doing that now because I've already gone a little bit far with this design. So what am I doing? I'm going to be adding a blur effect on this. So how do I achieve that? Pay attention, guys. So let me do that quickly. So I want to head over to this group one. So let me name this my team. Then once I duplicate it, I'm going to clear this layer effect. So disable layer effect. So because I don't want the drop shadow to still show on this particular one, which is team copy. And then what I want to do is I want to head over to my blending mode, set it to screen, and then I'll head over to filter, blur, and radial blur. So I'll head over to radial blur. And what I want to do is I want to blur this. Okay, so for some reason there's no preview on this, but I'm just going to have to select OK and see how it looks. So that will actually be a harder method to do this. But for some reason, I don't know why the preview is not showing. So let me just do this. Okay. So this is the radial blur, but okay, this is cool, but this is not what I had in mind because I wanted it to be as if it's rolling on itself. So let me see where the issue is from. Okay, so let me head over back there and see what the issue is actually from. So I'll click on the smart filters, radial blur, and I think we have spin and zoom. So let me just check whether I'll head over to spin to zoom and best. So let me just see whether there's any difference with this. Okay, this is not really giving me the effect I expected. I don't know why. This is cool by the way. This is cool by the way, but I have something that I'm actually looking for that I want this image to look like. But let me just try again one more time. So let me go to spin because I want it to be in a circular form, and then let me just try 100 to just confirm. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try one more thing because I shouldn't be stuck here because I need to move on with the design. So let me just see what I can do finally for this. So let me just okay, set it to zoom. I duplicated my background layer and then I set the blend mode to soft light. So I did that in an effort to blur to darken this design a little bit. So now since we got that out of the way, I'm going to group these backgrounds together, Control G. So this will be my background. Okay. So okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to be changing the effects on this. So first of all, let me change my blending mode on this to normal. And then okay, so this actually looks better. So I think I'll be rolling with this. Okay, so let me just adjust this. Okay, okay. I'm looking for the best way to place this. So let me just try once again whether I'll have to use the image adjustment on this. So let me check black and white. Okay. And then let me try setting my blend mode to screen. So I think this can work. I think this can work. Let me not stay focused on this for a long time. So I think screen can work. The next thing I'm going to be adding in this design is the DJs that will be performing at this program. And then I'll be adding the date and the time for this program. So let me first add the DJs that will be that will be performing at this program. So we have music policy, music, okay, music, music policy. So I'll be changing this font to Bebas. Okay, so tracking set to -25. Okay, so music policy. We have okay, so let me just set the leading for this. Okay, and then I'm going to reduce this. Okay, let me just reduce this so that it fits into this place. Okay, so let me just take this up. Okay, so all caps, yes. And then for this, I'll be creating a sort of contrast using colors. So for the main things, I'll be using yellow and I'll be using bold, while I'll be leaving the rest just normal like that. So we have this hype man, same color, same color, and same boldness. Okay, so let me just take this to the top and then adjust the leading to 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. Okay, so I think we are good to go. So these are the people that will be performing at the event. So okay, so now let me just zoom out. So just making a little bit of adjustment on this. Okay, so I think this is perfect. So the next thing I'll be adding on this is the dates and the time for the program. So let me just do that quickly. So we have Saturday 22nd. We have the day and the time, but I'm going to be creating a contrast with this. So for the time, we'll be using yellow just to separate the date and the time. So we'll be using yellow for that. Okay. So okay. So now what next? Okay. So let me just put this right here. Reduce it. Control T. And then I want to create a shape right here. So for this shape, I won't be needing a fill for it, but I'll be needing a stroke. So for my stroke, I'll set my stroke to okay, just something small. Okay, so we have this, and then what I want to do is I want to rasterize this. Okay, this. Cool. So I think let me arrange my design so that it doesn't look confusing. So this is the theme. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to this rectangle layer, and then I'm going to change the blending mode to okay. Let me choose the best one. Okay, let me change it to overlay, and then what I want to do is I want to just cut out some parts of it because it's just for aesthetics. So I don't have um anything I'm using this for. It's just strictly for aesthetics and all that. So let me just cut this here and then cut this here. Okay, cut this here. So it's basically for aesthetics, not not anything that has to do with the design. So you can see that if I remove this grid right here, you notice that this gives it a kind of beautiful look. So okay, so let me see what I can duplicate that to see how it looks. So I think it's looking better. So now I think I'm going to also do the same thing right here. Okay, so let me name this lines, and then I'm going to duplicate it. Then I'll bring it right here. So I think at this point this is looking nice. It's looking very very beautiful. But let me just for some reason let me still move this right here a little bit. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be adding the venue for this event. But first of all, let me clear out my grids right here. Okay, so let me clear this out right here. Okay, so still having to do some extra touches to this. A design can't be 100% perfect. The more you get to design, the more you get to notice things you can adjust. So let me just I don't just want these stuffs to block attention for my details. So that's why I'm actually trying to like adjust it a little bit. So let me just see how it goes like this. So I think it's okay. I think there's nothing much I need to do to this, but let me just add um the venue and then we can call this a day. So I'm going to be using repetition for this. So one of the design principles we always talk about. So I'll be using repetition to just spam all this I on my keyboard, and then I'm going to be changing the font to Akira. Okay, so let me see how that looks. Okay, not looking bad. And then I'm going to use italics on this. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to hit Control A on my keyboard, align this text, and then reduce it just rightly so. Okay, so this is just for adding a little bit of aesthetics and beauty to the lower part of this design. So let me just increase this to something like let me see 200. Okay, and then centralize and then Control D and Control T. So okay, so we have this right here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in the name of the club right here. Okay, so let me just so I'll be typing the rest of this so we have Blazers Avenue off Concord Junction, New York. Okay, so let me just adjust this. Okay, so I'm really not satisfied with this image. I think that's the only thing that's really holding me back on this design because I just feel like it's not sitting well with me. But let me see because the saturation is quite different from what we have in the background. Let me just see how we can fix this without changing the. Okay, so before that, let me just head over to this layer here, and then let me change it to overlay. So to add more effect to it, and then we have this. So here is our venue. Okay, so we have our venue. Okay, so let me just stick with this. Let me just find what to do with this. Okay. Mhm. So if you are okay with the way the image looks, you can stick with that. But I'm just having a hard time settling with this. But let me see if I fade this, whether it will give off a good look. Okay, so I'm just that's one thing about design. Design is all about experimentation. You need to make sure that what you are doing actually tallies. So I think these look nice. So I think this looks nice. I think I've gotten what I really wanted in this. But let me see what can work for this. So at this point in this video, these ones I'm just doing is actually optional for those who might actually want to change the way that their image is looking. But this is not something that you must get into. I think this is strictly for me because I'm trying to find the perfect balance between these two colors to actually make it look nice. So let me just get this. I'm just hoping that this doesn't make the video too long. So what do you feel, guys? Like, okay, I think I should better stick with this. Okay, so I think I'm okay with this. I think I'm okay with this. Let me just okay. So we have this so far, guys. We have this so far, guys, and I think this is looking nice. This is not looking that bad, but okay. So I think I've gotten the perfect balance between this and the reason why this is giving me so much issue. So let me just remove this and we have this. So I think this is looking nice. This is looking nice. This is looking nice. So I think this is looking nice. If you see that, if you look at it, so I think everything is balanced. The purple with a little bit of pinkish or brownish color. So I think everything looks nice. But let me just do one final touch right here. Okay, so that is not too dark. So we have this right here. Okay, so we have this right here, and this is looking already nice. But the last thing I'll be doing here is that I'm going to be adding an additional effect to this using camera raw. So to do that, I'm just going to group all this together. Okay, I'm going to group everything together, and then I'm going to hit Ctrl G and then duplicate. And then the next thing I'm going to do once this loads is that okay, so let's just render the smart task. Okay, so now I want to actually merge this, convert it to a smart object, and then what I want to do is I want to head over to my camera raw filter. So what am I going to be doing here? I'm actually going to be adjusting some things in this design. So don't mind how it looks right here. So I'm going to be adjusting something on this. So first of all, the thing I'm going to be adjusting is the saturation on this design because I don't want it looking all dull and all that. So I'm going to adjust the saturation. So let me just leave it this at 45. Let me just leave this at 45 and then I head over to my texture. I'm going to add a little bit of texture. So let me just leave this at positive 20, or let me just increase it to positive 25 to actually increase the textures that we have in this design. And then for the clarity, I won't push too much on the clarity. I think I'll just be going with 10 on the clarity because clarity darkens the image a little bit, and that's one of the things I'm trying to avoid. I don't want this design being a little bit too dark. And then I'm going to be increasing the grain. So the grain are actually those tiny particles you see on most designs, but I don't want to increase it too much. But I feel like grains are actually beautiful in design because it helps your design in certain way that makes it a little bit more beautiful. I know that most designers actually don't like the idea of using too much grains on image. And then the final thing I'll do is I'll hit the sharpening at 70 so that this makes our textures very, very smooth. And then I'm going to do the final thing, which is brightening this image a little bit. So to do that, I need to actually head over to color. Okay, so the light, and I'm going to increase the whites a little bit. So what I think I'm actually reducing my increase, so I'm going to increase it a little bit. So okay, so I think this is okay. So with all this selected, I'll hit OK. So let me just show you guys what I actually adjusted. And with all this, I'll just hit OK on my system, and it saves out on this RAM. So if you notice, you actually see the difference between this and this. So this is looking actually dull, this is just looking dull, this is just here. Note that this is actually brighter, this is actually more saturated, and it gives it a different kind of beauty. So I think we are done with this design at this point, and I can see that after toiling, this design came out to look nice. So thank you guys for staying to the end of this video. If you are new to my channel, do well to subscribe to my channel. And if you already subscribed, do well to like my video, do well to share my video with your friends. And with all that said and done, Mesh Graphics out. See you guys in my next video.